So, welcome, guys. I hope you guys are doing well. Here's another 10-minute review. And for this week, I wanted to tackle an acting piece in order to actually change things a little bit. For the first two, I basically be tackling body shots or action shots with the body motion, body mechanics. But for this one, I am going to tackle a acting piece, and I think it's going to be very interesting because I think this piece looks pretty much polished and finished, but yet is not. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm just going to start in a second, but before I start, I just want to tell you guys about my animation mentorship. My animation mentorship, you can find it in animation.harveynewman.com. Check it out. Brand new updates. I have 3 options: weekly, daily, and monthly. I think you guys are gonna like it. I'll tell you more about it towards the end of the video. But before that, let's start with this animation review. I'm gonna put 10 minutes on the clock. 1 second. Bam. 10 minutes and counting. First thing you're gonna do is have a look at this piece and see how it looks and exactly what it's doing.
Why not? Maybe she's right. Why not? Why not? Maybe she's right.
Nice one. So I think overall, Masoud, you did a really cool job. And when it comes to this piece, looks really cool, looks final, and it depends on the project that you're going to actually use this for. Let's say if it was TV, I think this was pretty much done. So if you actually want to do it for TV, because this quality is good, I think you're thinking about things the right way. And looking at my notes right here, I think the thing that I like the most, I'm going to tell you about the stuff that I like the most, and then I'm going to go into the critique part of the animation. But the thing that I like the most is that you are actually going through the thought process of the character, and you're doing it well. I think you are not starting with the dialogue straight away, which is something that I see in a lot of show reels that doesn't allow for people to really get into the character's mind. You are starting with a little bit of a thought process, and then you go into the line, right? So this is a really good way for you to start, for anybody out there, excuse me, for you guys to start your acting pieces, right? Just give it a little bit of thought, as if the character thought about what they're going to say, and then they say it, and then it finishes, right? So this is a really cool thing. Awesome stuff. The second thing that I wanted to say is that I like how the animation is contained. It feels very much like you kind of like are saying everything with the face, with the mouth, and very little with the body. And I think, given the energy of the audio, which is very important, I think it matches the animation, which is something that sometimes you see discrepancies. Sometimes I see either animations that look really cool, and yet the audio is very mellow or basically mismatched, or animations that don't look so cool and the audio is very much like super action packed, right? So you kind of have to match your animations with the level of energy that your audio has, if that makes sense, right? Otherwise things don't ever match. Doesn't matter how cool your animation looks, it will never match with your audio. So I think what you've done here is really nice, because it's a very mellow, very chilled kind of audio line, and it's much more an audio line where the character is going through a thought process as he's saying the line, right? Now, I think that also another thing that you're doing well is that the lip sync, for the most part, is actually hitting right. It feels like the character is saying what the character is saying in the audio piece. There is, however, something that I'm going to have to address in the beginning. I'll tell you in a little bit. And I think that you actually have very little, like have moments here when he licks his lips right here, right? That this looks really cool right there when he licks his lips. There's a little bit of extra movement, and then at some point he kind of like just gets this corner of the mouth looking a little bit different, which is nice, changes the shape of the mouth a little bit. This is what we do with as humans. Even though I'm talking, if I'm doing something and if I'm thinking about something, sometimes you just twitch or you do something weird with your mouth or with your face or with your eyes. This is just what we do as we kind of thinking about stuff. Stuff happens in our face, and you're kind of doing it here, which is really nice. Now, after Now, after saying all that, all the positives, let me talk about some of the stuff that you can do better in your piece. And the biggest thing that I can actually tell you about your piece is that even though you're going through a thought process on your character, there's a few things that you can actually do that should make your animation better. The very first thing is that when you start your animation, right, the character is looking down. Obviously, by the end of it, you know that there's somebody in front of the character. But if I'm seeing this for the first time, I don't have a sense there's anybody in front of him until he starts looking at the character. So one of the things that you can do is that as the character is looking down like this and like eye darting while he's going through his thought process, is that you can just have the character quickly just eye dart here and all of a sudden go like this and go like that, right? That is enough for you to tell the audience that there's something in front of him that is of interest, but now I'm thinking again. That just a little something, it's enough to actually kind of like sell that idea, right? That is cool because then it kind of sells or goes into the next part a little bit better, because at that point when he looks and starts talking with the person in front of him, that is going to feel more convincing, right? So that's the very first thing that I should say. Another thing that I should say as well is that when he looks up right there to look towards the character that is in front of him, you should lead with the eyes much more. So his eyes kind of settle in this position when he's here, but before then, as he just hits around there, the eye should almost be here, and then he kind of goes and settles, right? So at this point, you kind of have something that looks very weird and it feels floaty because the eyes don't settle until they get here. So you want to always find ways to lead with your eyes, because this is what we do, right? If I'm actually looking at the camera, I'm actually going to look first and then settle with my face, right? And this is basically what you want to do, because you kind of have it correct. You just need a little, like about 2 or 3 frames of like just looking at the camera first, settling here the eyes, and then moving the face to the correct place towards the end, right? Now, a big thing that you have here is that you have a pause right there. Let me just remove this.
Why not? Why not? Maybe she's right.
Now, this pause here in between, when he goes, why not? Pause. Why not? Maybe she's right. This is the biggest thing that you're missing in your shot. There is no sense of like him changing his mind. And this is really important when it comes to acting shots, because what you're really doing is selling the thought process of the character in your animation, right? So the character in this piece, even though it's so short, goes through a journey in his own mind. So the first part, at least to me as an audience, he's thinking about exactly what happened, right? And then as he's kind of like going through his line, he's convincing himself that why not? Maybe she's right, right? So he goes from maybe not believing to then believing towards the end, right? You need to sell that belief at some point in your animation. And that point in your animation should be in this pause, right? I think there should be some kind of shift inside of him. It doesn't have to be big, it can be small, but some kind of shift either in his posture or in his face. They kind of sell this like, I'm not convinced, and then I go, and then I go, and then I say my line, right? So having that momentum in your face, in your body, in your posture will sell that idea that, no, why not? Maybe she's right. Yeah, maybe she is right, right? You need to sell that in your animation. At the moment, it feels kind of like the same all throughout, right? And that amping up things, right, will make sure that there is like peaks and troughs as you go through your animation, right? And you want to make sure that there is some distinction in your animation, so it becomes more satisfying and better to see for your audience. So definitely work on that here. And then towards the end,
Maybe she's right.
you can see a little bit of that, like maybe she's right, right? And that's cool, but you just have to see that change right there in the middle, right? So I have a minute left. Let me just look at my notes. Another good thing is that another thing that you should look at is also the shoulders. So the body's moving very little, that's fine, but you need to kind of like offset the shoulders a little bit more, right? And you can tell a lot of things with the shoulders. So like being defeated, having your shoulders down is normal, but as he's amping himself up and actually getting psyched about, yeah, maybe she is right. Maybe you can actually tense up the muscles, the shoulders a little bit, right? Offset the shoulders as he's moving it. At the moment, it's very little. And the other thing that you should do is give an idea that he is actually moving his hands, right? So he can go from content, from like being introverted and shy and perhaps, on the spot, to then going, why not? Why not? Maybe she's right. And this is a bit more confident, right? Because you open your body, you open your stance, which is nice. Now, 9 seconds to go. Yeah, the pause in the middle needs more thought process, more character, and then, yeah, the realization of him being convinced. And that's it. I can't say anything else because the 10 minutes are up. Cool, that's it. I think overall you've done a great job, Masoud. I think it looks really cool. Just make sure that as you go through your animation, especially acting pieces, you really need to get into the thought process of the character. You need to get into the brain of the character, and you need to think about what the character is thinking while they are thinking it, and how you can make that a little journey, right, from beginning to end. And the more you can push that journey, the more entertaining it's going to be. That's all I had. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this helps you. And for anybody else that is interested in getting your shots reviewed, then make sure to join the Animation Discord server. Really cool stuff. Lots of information going on right now. Lots of members. We just went through 400 members. We're halfway through getting those 500 members. So, welcome everybody that wants to talk about animation. But most importantly, this can be your shot. We have a channel called Animation Feedback, so submit your animations to the channel Animation Feedback after you join us, and then every single day, every single week, I go through that channel. Any animation that kind of catches my eye, I'll pick it up, review it for you guys here in this segment. That's all I had for you guys. Don't forget to check out my animation mentorship if you want to see more of this one-on-one with you for much longer, because this is just a glimpse of some of the stuff that I do behind the scenes. That's all I had. I hope you guys have a great rest of the week. Until then, stay well, stay safe. Peace.